So this weekend, we went out to lunch with some friends, and I ended up getting barbecue, and I love barbecue. I got brisket, I got ribs, I got pulled pork, macaroni and cheese, Johnny cakes, which are cornbread, but it has maple syrup inside, and it's just an amazing thing, right? I pre-bolused for the food. I thought that I nailed my pre-bolus slash insulin amount, and things were looking really good. We go back to our friend's house, and all of a sudden my blood sugar starts rising. And I realize I forgot to bolus for protein. Guys, my name is Ryan Hodges. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I've been diabetic for 35 years. And if you didn't know you're supposed to bolus for protein, I didn't either until about 2 months ago when I started listening to the Juicebox podcast, and I realized that protein also breaks down into glucose just at a slower rate. I made this channel so that I can try to just be here, form a community around people that need help realizing that it's never too late to take care of your type 1 diabetes. You can make the change now and you can really get a better control over your life and not have to worry about high A1Cs anymore. Go back, check out some of my other videos, and subscribe to the channel, like, comment, share. Let's build this community of type 1 diabetes and just help to spread the word of all these different things that we can learn together. So I've learned that protein breaks down into glucose just over a slower rate. So one of the things, so like for me, so for a lunch, right? So a typical lunch could be a turkey sandwich. And a turkey sandwich has bread, carbohydrates. It has protein in the meat, some in the cheese. It's got a little bit of protein in like the mayonnaise or whatever you might put on it. And you pre-bolus for the carbohydrates, get it done. For me, the way that I do it is I'll pre-bolus for the carbohydrates. And then once I'm done eating, I'll take the amount of protein that was in that turkey. So we're going to say that turkey had, I don't know, we're going to call it like, let's call it 15 grams of protein. I'm going to take that and I'm going to divide it. I'm going to basically do 2/3 of that. Okay. So times 0.66 equals 9 grams of protein that I'm going to bolus for at the same ratio that I use for my carbohydrates. My ratio is 8, so divide that by 8. And I'm now doing about another 1.25 units of insulin for the protein, but I'm going to stretch it out over another hour and a half or 2 hours, depending on how much protein I actually eat. And this will help keep your blood sugar just a lot more level until that protein is done breaking down into glucose in your body. I had never heard about this in the entire time I was diabetic, and I can only imagine those times that I went out and ate a 24-ounce steak or a whole rack of ribs or at old Christmas parties at work where like I would eat a whole half of a chicken as my dinner plus the beans and the mashed potatoes and whatever else was there, and now my blood sugar's rising later because of protein, and maybe I had no idea why, right? And with the Dexcom being able to see my blood sugar all the time, I'm like, wow, this is really a thing. And how did I never know about this? How did somebody never tell me, hey, you should probably bolus for protein? And maybe it's that the doctors don't know. Maybe they just don't, like I've said in the past, they don't have time to talk to you about everything. But it would have been nice to know because I would have had better control over my diabetes then. Maybe not. Maybe I wouldn't have cared like I do now, but like I said, it's never too late to learn this stuff. So I'm doing that now. The other thing is the amount of fat that's in food affects how slowly the carbohydrates that you eat affect your blood sugar also. If you have a high fat meal, let's say like let's use the turkey sandwich again, and we'll pretend that turkey has a ton of fat in it. Or we'll go back to the barbecue, right? So barbecue, the brisket had fat, the pulled pork had fat, the ribs had fat. There was a lot of fat in that meal. Fat breaks down, it doesn't break down into glucose necessarily, but what it does is it slows down the carbohydrates that break down into glucose over up to an 8-hour period. And so you have to really take that into account. So for me with my pump, I'm on an algorithm. So the pump works with the Dexcom and it registers my blood sugar, and it will increase the amount of basal insulin that I'm doing to help combat that. I don't think that the algorithm can quite keep up with like the fat and protein rise that happens. So that's why I bolus for protein. And a lot of times, depending if it's a really high fat meal, I'll add some extra on the even the back end of that extended bolus for the protein to help combat the fat for later, because I know that it's going to continue. The carbohydrates are still going to continue to break down slowly and be raising my blood sugar more. It's a lot to think about. I just said a whole lot of things in a very short amount of time. And if you have to go back and listen, listen again. But guys, it's just important to realize what you're putting in your body. And there are great resources out there. Go check out the Juicebox podcast. Keep listening to me, and we're going to continue to grow together. We're going to have way better blood sugars. We're going to have way better A1Cs. I have my next appointment in April, and so I'm looking forward to that time so that I can get an idea of where my A1C is at now. That over the last 2 months, and I'm looking at my Clarity app on my phone right now. So over the last 30 days, my average blood sugar is 109. Over the last 60 days, my average blood sugar is 117. This is a far cry better than being in the average of 270 for the majority of my life. So we can do it. You can do it. And I'm here to help you. I'm here to just be motivation for you to do better or make better choices around your diabetes. Guys, we can do this. You can do this. There's nothing that says you can't. You just got to really realize that there are things that you might not know, that your doctors aren't either haven't told you, or you haven't asked the questions, or they just don't have the time. There's a lot of reasons that it could be. There are resources out there to help you with this. I really hope to be one of them, and I hope that you will come back and see me again, and we can continue down this journey together. Guys, have a great weekend, and we will talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.